Hello everyone, I'm David Celdran, your quizmaster. Welcome to what promises to be the most exciting episode of Bilyonaryo Quiz Bee yet. Today, the brightest collegiate minds from our first 3 episodes return for a semi-final showdown where the stakes are even higher, the questions tougher, and the prize money bigger. This is another step closer to 1 million peso grand prize, and all our semi-finalists have to do is, well, be the last man standing. That's right, the last man standing, because we have 3 young men here with us today. Who will outlast their peers today and secure a spot in the grand finals? Well, let's find out. Returning with a keen eye for design and innovation in BS architecture from the University of the Philippines, Diliman. Let's hear it for Zeus, Immanual, Cordez, Bilyonaryo Quiz Bee's Week 1 winner. Welcome back, Zeus. Good to see you. Let's meet our next contestant, also from UP Diliman, a future educator with an indomitable will to inspire and to educate. We have Glenmar Montaño, our Week 2 champion. Welcome back, Glenmar. And finally, also from UP Diliman, indeed, it's an all-maroon lineup. This time, a mechanical engineering major who brings intellectual rigor and infectious energy to the show. Our third weekly winner is Alvarado III, and he's back. Welcome back, Chris. All right, this is amazing. We have an all-maroon lineup, everyone from UP Diliman. You all won in your elimination round. And of course, it's funny to say that it's UP against UP. Let's just say it's the College of Education versus the College of Architecture versus the College of Engineering. I think that's a much better way of putting it. Nevertheless, they're all from UP Diliman. Of course, let's all give it up for these promising young BQB contenders, because only one of them will make it to the grand finals and move closer to that life-changing 1 million pesos prize money. Now, who is it gonna be? There's only one way to find out. So contestants, welcome to the semi-final stage. The rules are familiar for you, but of course the stakes are much higher and the competition will be more intense. Let's listen in to our mechanics. Each Bilyonaryo Quiz Bee semi-final episode raises the stakes for our weekly winners with increasingly challenging questions testing different aspects of their knowledge in history, science and technology, arts and literature, math and logic, geography and nature, and general information. As in our regular episodes, the questions will be read out here in the BQB studio. Unlike our viewers at home, however, our students do not have the advantage of reading the questions on screen. So contestants, listen very carefully. After 2 grueling rounds, only the contestants with the highest score will move on to today's bonus round, and ultimately to the Battle Royale of Wits and Reflexes at the Bilyonaryo Quiz Bee Season 1 Grand Finals. But first, he or she must survive round 1. We begin with 12 questions worth 2,000 pesos each. The first contestant to buzz gets to answer. Correct answers earn money points, while incorrect answers give the remaining opponents a chance to steal. It's time for our weekly winners to duke it out in round number 1. Let the Bilyonaryo Quiz Bee semifinals begin. All right, as usual, we'll have a chance to chat with our contestant later on at the start of round number 2. But for now, let's start with round number 1 with 2,000 pesos for every correct answer, 12 questions in all. Now, just a reminder to our contestants, put your hands near your buzzers. And remember, wait for me to acknowledge you first before you answer. Otherwise, you forfeit your chance, all right? And you give the chance to your opponents. So, if you're ready, hands in your buzzers, let's check them out first. Zeus? That's working. Glenmar? And Chris? All right, this is familiar territory for you guys. You've been here before. Just have to do what you've done in the past elimination round. Let's begin with round number 1. We'll start with a question in history. Dated to 900 AD and inscribed on a metal sheet, the oldest written document found in the Philippines is also known, or popularly known, Glenmar?
Laguna copper plate.
I'll give you a chance, Glenmar. You're almost there, but complete your answer. Laguna copper plate. Time is up. Who'd like to steal? Oldest written document found in the Philippines, popularly known by what 3-word name? Had I finished the question, Glenmar, you would have a chance to answer that correctly, but you took the risk and answered a bit too early. Fortunately for you, Glenmar, Zeus, and Chris don't have an answer, so time is up.
I know it.
Say it, Glenmar, at least just for your personal
Laguna
pride.
copper plate inscription.
That would have been the correct answer. It's 3 words, a 3-word name. I couldn't give you the clue because it was part of the question, in fairness to the other opponents. Okay? All right, let's go to question number 2. Science and technology. Listen in. The spicy kick you get from cold condiments. Chris.
Capsaicin.
That's not correct. Let me finish. The spicy kick you get from cold condiments like the Japanese wasabi is triggered by a chemical compound containing what element? We're looking for the element in that compound. Zeus.
Sulfur.
Yes, it is sulfur. Correct. Sulfur compound is called allyl isthiocyanates. Let's go to question number 3. This is arts and literature. In his iconic anthology of short stories, first published in 1950, what science fiction author popularized the so-called 3 laws of robotics? Name of the author. Zeus.
Jules Verne.
Jules Verne, not correct. He was a science fiction author. It's not Jules Verne. Can you name another science fiction author? Chris.
Stephen Hawking.
What? He's not a science fiction author. He's a scientist. Glenmar. But yeah, that's the way to go. Just give an answer.
I know his nationality, but not his name.
Let's see if that might be the same thing.
I can't think of it.
The answer is Isaac Asimov. Okay, Isaac Asimov. All right. Next question. Math and logic. In logic, what form of deductive reasoning draws a conclusion from 2 or more premises? Chris.
Deduction.
Wrong. Anyone like to steal? Once I say wrong, anyone can steal. Glenmar.
Fury.
No. Zeus?
Hypothesis.
No. The answer is syllogisms. That's in syllogistic reasoning. What form of deductive reasoning draws a conclusion from 2 or more premises? In debate, of course, especially in rhetoric, this is important. Next question. Geography and nature. Spanning about 7,000 kilometers, what is the longest above surface mountain range in the world? Longest above surface, Zeus.
The Andes.
It is the Andes, correct. It covers 7 South American countries. You have Venezuela, you have Colombia, you have Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Chile, and of course the last one at the tip, Argentina. It is the Andes. Next question. General information. What is the colorful nickname for the card or document affirming lawful permanent residence in the United States? Chris.
Green card.
Yes, it is. Green card. That is actually the official name. It's called a green card. Let's go to question number 7 in history. Deus vult, meaning God wills it in Latin, was a rallying cry used in what series of military expeditions in the 11th century? Zeus?
The Crusades.
The Crusades is definitely correct. Or specifically, it was the First Crusade. You have 6,000 pesos right now. You're clearly in the lead. Glenmar, you can still bounce back in, still early in the game. Chris has 2,000 pesos. Let's go to question number 8. This is in science and technology. All right. What powerful analgesic and alkaloid substance got its name from the Greek god of dreams? The Greek god of dreams. Glenmar.
Morpheus.
Whoop. Wrong. Chris?
Morphine.
Morphine is correct. Yes, you'll have to wait for me to say wrong before you can steal. Zeus, I know you knew that. Not one of those Greek gods like your name. Morphine, based on Morpheus. Morpheus was the name of the god of dreams, and therefore morphine came because of the hallucinations that came about from this particular substance. Let's go to our next question. Number 9, arts and literature. Having staged over 20 major concerts in the Philippines since the 1980s, this is a throwback, what foreign music duo said, "We've become part of the Filipino DNA"? 80s foreign duo. Very popular with your parents, your titos and titas. They probably sing it during reunions. Who is this band or this group? You'll be surprised. The answer is Air Supply. Do you even know who Air Supply is?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay, Air Supply. It is Air Supply. And why do you think they've become part of the Filipino DNA?
This is one of the countries in the world where they're more famous than anywhere else. Okay, air supply. And they actually mentioned that last time in their 2024 concert in Philippine Arena. They could fill that up. Next question. Math and logic. I'll read the question twice. So express, this is important, express your answer in lowest terms only. What is the probability of getting a sum of 7 in a throw of 2 standard 6-sided dice? 6-sided dice. Again, what is the probability of getting a sum of 7 in a throw of 2 standard 6-sided dice? Zeus?
1 out of 12.
A little bit of mental math. 1 out of 12 is wrong. Chris?
1/6.
Or 1 out of 6? Yes, you are correct. That puts you in a tie now with Zeus. 1 out of 6, 1 is a 6, 1 out of 6, 6 favorable outcomes, 36 total outcomes. Divide that, 1 over 6. All right. Question number 11, geography and nature. When measuring from base to summit, the tallest mountain in the world is actually what Hawaiian peak? Glenmar?
Mauna Kea.
I'll give you a chance. Say it again.
Mauna Kea.
That is wrong. Zeus?
Mount Kilauea.
Again. Mount?
Kilauea.
Wrong. All right, time is up. You know, Glenmar, you were so close to it. I hate to say it. You missed it out by just, you could have omitted just one letter and you would have been correct. Mauna Kea, as in Maunakea. It is the tallest mountain in the world. We often say it's Mount Everest. Actually, if you were to go from base to summit, it's actually Mount Mauna Kea in Hawaii. Okay, next question. This is the last question for the first round, still for 2,000 pesos. General information. In the so-called Fight of the Century in Paradise, Nevada in 2015, what pretty boy beat the Pac-Man? Who was the pretty boy who beat the Pac-Man? 2015, 10 years ago. Okay, Glenmar, just at the tip of it. Go ahead.
Morales.
Oh, no. Well, at least he's a real boxer. Yes. The correct answer is, I'm sure you know, it's Floyd Mayweather Jr. Floyd Mayweather Jr. He was called the pretty boy, and he beat Pac-Man. Also called Money. I think that was his other nickname, Money. All right, 12 out of 12 questions now. Let's check our scores. We have Chris and Zeus tied for first place at 6,000 pesos. Glenmar, you're still at 0, but you know the drill, right? When we come back after the break, it's gonna be even more money points. For every correct answer, more chances for you to catch up with the other two. And best of all, we have the Bilyonaryo booster question, which is double the money points. Lots of chances. We don't know who's gonna win. This is gonna be really interesting. So impressive performances all around, but the competition is far from over. As you can see, we're cranking up the intensity with round 2 when the Bilyonaryo Quiz Bee semifinals returns after the break. Welcome back to Bilyonaryo Quiz Bee's first semi-final match. That's right. And to our contestants, you're all doing great so far. Zeus has 6,000 points. Chris has 6,000 points. Glenmar still at 0. But of course, as we mentioned earlier, there's going to be a lot of chances for you to catch up because we're upping the stakes. 3,000 pesos for every correct answer, plus that Bilyonaryo booster question worth 6,000 pesos. But before we get to the round and to the mechanics, just want to ask you guys a few questions so our audience gets to know a little bit about you more. Zeus, all right, first of all, I want to ask all of you, did you ever know each other before? You come from the same campus. I know it's a big campus, big student population, but did you ever come across each other in the past, Zeus?
Actually, I knew Glenmar from ROTC.
Oh, okay.
He's a cadet officer, and I'm just a cadet.
All right, this is your chance to get back at him, right? Okay, this is a revenge against the officers. How about you, Glenmar? Any glimpse of the others?
Yeah,
I hope you were good to Zeus.
He told me that he was my former cadet, but I actually don't know all my cadets. So yeah, I just met him here.
Okay, I hope you were nice to him because
Yeah.
otherwise, lalampasuhin ka nila ni Zeus. No? Chris, Yeah, I guess. But of course, you've had a chance to cross into the different colleges of the others. And
Di ko pa sila nakikita, but funnily enough, apparently I'm applying into an org na Zeus is. I used to be a member in.
pasok ka na. Malakas si
pasok na,
Zeus.
ganun.
Sorry, Glenn. Okay, seriously, Zeus, you're graduating. I just want to know, you'll be working, putting yourself out there in the professional world as an architect, and of course, if you pass the exam. But I'm sure you will, Zeus. But I'm curious about your thesis and what kind of contribution do you think that thesis will have in our country?
Okay, so my thesis is a modular multimedia library. Basically, it's something that can be easily built. It's designed to be built easily everywhere else in the country, not just in the city centers, but in the countrysides where access to media and information is harder to come across. So that's my contribution.
Nice, that's amazing. I hope that's replicated, it's scaled, and we have more of that throughout the country because we're all about boosting intelligence, all about boosting information. And Glenmar, perfect, that you're an educator, you'll be graduating as well.
Yeah.
And I know you don't have thesis in the College of Education, but you do have a practicum, an internship of sorts, teaching students in UPIS.
Yeah.
What's it like? I mean, you're looking at the next generation, okay? This is not even the Gen Z anymore. This is the next generation. And what are your thoughts about the generation? And you know, they're called the TikTok generation. And you think this will be a generation that will still appreciate what you're all doing here? Really, this passion for knowledge.
Well, actually, for me, I think every generation is unique. Like for our generation, we have different things, different ways to handle problems. And for the new generations now, like the generation of the students that I'm teaching, I think they have a very creative mind, especially they're into like the digital world. So apparently they use social media a lot. And well, so at some point that is concerning. That is also an opportunity for them to learn and be more and to know the world better.
All right, good way of putting it.
Yeah.
A little optimistic. A lot of people are pessimistic about the next generation. You're very optimistic, and I'll take your word for that. Chris, of course, you were last week's winner. How did you recover from that? Because you're quite nervous at the start.
Halata pala. Honestly, na-enjoy ko naman yung filming throughout the whole thing. So nawala yung nervous in the start in the first place.
And
so
what's it like to be with your kuyas from UP Diliman? Because you're the youngest here.
Looking forward to combat with them further the following round.
All right. Well, that's exactly what this round is going to be. It's going to be combat, not mortal, but just intense combat, intellectual combat. Before we get to our round number 2, here are the mechanics.
In round 2 of our semifinals episode, the game mechanics remain the same, but a 3,000 peso price tag now accompanies each difficult question. With the exception, of course, of the semifinals Bilyonaryo booster, which is worth 6,000 pesos. Double the amount, double the thrill. That's an automatic 6,000 pesos that could literally be a game changer for one lucky contestant. At the end of this knockout round, 2 contestants with the lowest scores will be eliminated. If round 2 ends in a tie, the game goes into a sudden death tiebreaker, where the first contestant to answer correctly wins. Let's see who comes out on top of round 2 of the Bilyonaryo Quiz Bee semifinals.
Indeed. Will it be Zeus, Glenmar, or Chris? Who knows? It's still very early in the game. So this is where the strategy becomes very critical. At the end of this round, only one contestant will move forward to the bonus round, while the others, of course, will bow out gracefully. Now, our semifinalists, if you're going to pull a Hail Mary, this is when you've got to do it. And I'm looking at you, Glenmar. This is where you got to do it. Chris and Zeus maintain the lead. Hopefully, we don't get to a tiebreaker to determine which one among you moves on to the bonus round and, of course, to the grand finals for 1 million pesos. Let's begin with a question in history. Specifically, we're looking for kings and queens here. Name the most famous member of the Ptolemaic dynasty and last active Hellenistic pharaoh of Egypt. Last pharaoh, Glenmar.
Queen Cleopatra.
Cleopatra is correct. They call her queen, they call her pharaohess, or pharaoh. Cleopatra is the correct answer. Very good, Glenmar, I told you. 3,000 points now, you're halfway to the others. Next question is science and technology. In the human body, what do you call the junction between 2 nerve cells consisting of a minute gap? Glenmar.
Synapse.
Synapse is correct. Before you know it, you're all tied at 6,000 pesos. Let me finish the question for our viewers. Consisting of a minute gap across which impulses travel. It's called a synapse. Correct. Question number 3. Arts and literature. The subject of a recent film. What American is the only individual to win a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Nobel Prize? To win a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Nobel Prize. Glenmar.
He's a singer. I forgot. Sorry.
Don't apologize. Chris, Zeus. Time is up. He is a singer.
Yeah.
He is still a singer because he's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
alive. In fact, there was a famous, or rather, a recent biopic or film made about his life. Would you know who that is? Who know who that is? Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan is the answer. His real name, Robert Zimmerman. Grammy, Oscar, and a Nobel Prize. Quite unusual. All 3 categories, all 3 major prizes. Next question is in geometry. What 5-letter term refers to a 3-dimensional shape with 2 parallel and congruent polygonal bases and rectangular lateral? Chris?
Prism.
Prism is the correct answer. 3,000 pesos for you. This is getting exciting. This is getting exciting. And rectangular lateral faces, the answer is if you think about it, a prism. Next question. Travel and transport. This city has a train line that opened in 2010. It cost $2 billion to build and considered the largest in the world by capacity, but it's used only 7 days every year. What is a city located in the Middle East with this train line? $2 billion to build. Think of the question. Glenmar.
Doha, Qatar.
Doha is a city? That's not the city we're looking for, but it is a city, yes. Come on, Zeus, give it a shot. You're now at 6,000, Chris at 9, Glenmar at 6. Time is up. The answer is, would you have known this? Mecca. Mecca. The clue there was 7 days of the year only. Imagine building a massive train line, the largest in the world. It's to ferry all those pilgrims to Mecca. Only 7 days a year, $2 billion to build. Well, that's, of course, the significance of Mecca to Muslim pilgrims. Next question. In general information, we're looking at famous furniture here. What is the title of the world leader who sits behind the fabled Resolute desk? We're looking for the title of the world leader who sits behind. Glenmar.
The President of the United States.
Of America is correct, yes. The American president. It was a gift from Queen Victoria. The wood, of course, came from the HMS Resolute, and therefore the Resolute desk, where today Donald Trump sits behind, Joe Biden, and so many other presidents in the past. Let's go to our next question. Famous quotations in history. What American Spanish thinker, whose mother was born in the Philippines, warned, those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it? What American Spanish thinker, Glenmar?
Spanish. Spanish. I forgot. Sorry.
All right, you like to press that button a bit too early, but it's okay. Let me just consider Zeus or Chris if you'd like to steal. Oh, time is up. Actually, you could have just thrown away everything else and just listened to the part what says, those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it. That was George Santayana. What confuses you now is because we threw in the American Spanish thinker with a Filipina mother, and therefore, your brain just went in all directions. It was George Santayana. Very popular quotation, indeed. Next question. For 6,000 pesos, this is a Bilyonaryo booster question. Wow, this is gonna make a dramatic difference in our scoreline. All right, listen in, because this is important to all of you. Okay, we're looking for great inventors. When he died in 1937, radio stations around the world observed 2 minutes of silence. Who was this famous Italian inventor hailed as the father of radio? The father of radio. Italian. Died in 1937. Glenmar for 6,000 pesos.
Alexander Graham Bell.
Not correct. That is wrong. Not a bad guess, Chris.
Hertz.
Hertz Well, Hertz is used in electronics, but not Hertz. Zeus. Is your first?
Tesla.
Tesla is not correct. All pretty good answers. The answer is Guglielmo Marconi. Marconi, inventor of the radio. All right. Next question. Fictional heroes, not in real life. Who said, when you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth? Who said that, Chris?
Sherlock Holmes.
That is correct, Sherlock Holmes. In his book, In the Sign of the Four by Arthur Conan Doyle. Wow, that gives you a big bump. 12,000 points now, but mathematically possible for Zeus and Glenmar to catch up. So let's go to our question number 10. Especially for you, Glenmar, you're in striking distance. I'll read the question twice. This is math and logic. In fact, you'll just need to do some mental math. I have a number. I double that number. I add 10. I now have 110. What is the original number? Glenmar.
50.
Yes, it is 50. 50 is correct. So if you do it backwards, 110 minus 10 is equal to 100. 100 divided by 2 is 50. 50 is the answer. Okay, this is gonna be tough. We have Chris and Glenmar tied up front with 12,000 points each. We still don't know which one among you will win in this round. Zeus, you might just be playing for the money here. Nevertheless, it's a lot of money. We're still talking about 6,000 pesos more with 2 questions left. You could actually tie with them in case they don't answer. And who knows, sudden death, tiebreaker for all of you. Let's hear the first question. Number 11. This is in geography and nature. World countries, or countries of the world. Listen carefully. If you stand atop this country's highest point, on Volcan Baru, you can see the sunrise over the Pacific Ocean and the sunset over the Atlantic Ocean, both in the same day. What country would that be if you were to stand on top of the highest point of this country called Volcan Baru? What country in the world is that? Zeus, you're gonna have to answer this. Glenmar is first.
Papua New Guinea.
Papua New Guinea, no. Wrong. Zeus.
Argentina.
That was a little bit closer, at least on the same continent, or the same, at least, part of that part of the world. It's Panama. The Panama. Remember, the canal, Panama, the isthmus, that gave you a chance to see, what was it? Sunset over the Atlantic Ocean and sunrise over the Pacific Ocean. It's the shape of Panama, the size of Panama, that makes that possible. The only one in the world, at least that we know of. Which brings us now to our final question. Question is in general information, specifically in fashion. Described by its creator as explosive, what was unveiled in Paris in 1946 after the US conducted atomic tests at a small island in the Pacific? Zeus?
The bikini.
Correct. Bikini is correct. Zeus is a spoiler. 9,000 pesos for Zeus. So Zeus, we're going to ask you to just observe your 2 other friends. We are going to go to a tiebreaker question. Glenmar and Chris, this is between both of you. It's a sudden death situation. Only 1 question. First to get it right moves on to the grand finals. Good luck to both of you. Here is a question in science and technology. What do you call a chemical substance secreted by an animal that triggers a social response in members of the same species? Chris for the win.
Pheromones.
Correct. Pheromone is correct. And Chris moves on to the grand finals. Glenmar, oh so close, but not quite. Zeus, of course, you did a great job as well. Let me just congratulate all of you. Zeus, semi-finalist, you are one of our weekly champions. Same with Glenmar over here.
Yes.
Boy, how do you feel? That was so close. You could almost taste it, right? But then, of course, you only have 1 champion, and this is Chris. You're all from UP Diliman, so congratulations to your university. And of course, Chris, you stay where you are. Because when we come back, even more chances to take home more cash. But of course, right now, all you're thinking about is the grand finals. We'll be back after this break. right, welcome to the last leg of this Bilyonaryo Quiz Bee semi-final episode. Our winner, Chris, here is already a shoe-in for our grand finals in August, but there are still prizes to be won in this segment. That is, Chris, if you're quick enough to answer. All right, I just want to ask you, how are you feeling now? Still nervous?
Nervous pa rin kahit nagawa ko na to last episode given the time constraint and the questions.
I was thinking to myself, Chris is a slow burner, like a diesel engine. Takes time for him to catch up.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's full speed ahead. But you've come a long way from Philippine Science High School in Davao, now in UP Diliman. Just some tips because you've gotten this far for those who just want to join this competition.
Siguro don't hesitate to open your mind and learn new things kahit from anywhere really, the internet, mga textbooks, anything goes.
Sa kalangan tapang, diba? It's
Kaya,
a different ball game when you're standing in front of the cameras and lights.
True.
All right, so Chris, are you ready for your bonus round?
Ready
The stakes are higher, 4,000 pesos for every correct answer. Of course, let's listen into our mechanics.
In the Bilyonaryo Quiz Bee semifinals bonus round, our finalist has two new opponents to defeat, a 60-second clock, and a set of 10 questions worth 4,000 pesos each. As in our previous bonus rounds, the contestant may take their time answering, or say pass, and move on to the next question. But they must remember that in round 3, there are no do-overs. Once a question is skipped, it's discarded and will not be asked again. Let's wish our contestants luck as they begin the Bilyonaryo Quiz Bee semifinals bonus round.
All right, good luck, Chris. Of course, you can relax now. You're in the grand finals already, but why not? Take home more cash. Let's take a look at your categories here. Choose one from our 3 choices. Follow the leader, let it flow, or universal appeal. I won't tell you what we're looking for, but there are clues in those titles. Which one is it?
I think you let it flow parang...
What do you think it is? Let it flow.
Bodies of water, and that's not something I'm familiar with. Yung sa follow the leader naman, mga leader figures.
So which one is it?
Universal appeal na lang.
Oh, okay. So you're just describing it.
Sorry, my bad.
So universal appeal is what Chris will choose. Any idea what this is?
Wala, not a clue.
It's about the universe, outer space, and space in general. I think you're much better at that than the others, right? Okay, because you're really good at science and math. Okay, so if you're ready, timer starts after my first question. And let's begin. This theory states the universe began as a tiny fireball that exploded. What theory is
Big
that?
Bang Theory.
Brightest star in the night sky, also known as a dog star.
Sirius.
Famous comet that returns to Earth every 75 years or so.
Halley's Comet.
Planet whose most iconic feature is a great red spot.
Jupiter.
Term for the outermost layer of the sun's atmosphere.
Corona.
A luminous object whose name is short for quasi-stellar radio source.
Pass.
Major galaxy that's nearest our Milky Way.
Andromeda.
Constellation where you'll find the stars called Tatlong Maria in Tagalog.
Orion.
Largest asteroid named for the Roman goddess of agriculture.
Pass.
Popular name of the 3 towers of gas and dust in the Eagle Nebula where new stars are born. Popular name. That's the last question.
Pillars of Galaxy. The Pillars of Galaxy.
Pillars of Galaxy. Let's wait for the time to run out. You shouldn't have passed on those questions.
No pressure
There
ako
was
sa
a
time.
lot of time for you to revisit. Too bad no do-overs. I can't go back to the other questions. But I get a feeling you did pretty well.
Hopefully.
Pillars of Creation is the correct answer, not Pillars of Galaxy. Pillars of Creation, that's wrong. But you got some pretty good answers there. Big Bang is a theory that we all began as a tiny fireball. Yes. Sirius is a dog star, also correct. Halley's or Halley's Comet returns to Earth or is visible from Earth every 75 years or so. That's also correct. Jupiter is a planet with a great red spot, which is visible. Term for the outermost layer of the sun's atmosphere is corona. That's correct. You got this incorrect. A luminous object whose name is short for quasi-stellar radio source. Quasar. Quasar is the correct answer. Major galaxy that's nearest our Milky Way is the Andromeda Galaxy. That's correct. Constellation, where you'll find the Tatlong Maria, the 3 stars that are organized on the sky. You said Orion. Yes, it is Orion. Sa Tagalog, tawag natin dyan balatik. Balatik. Had you said balatik, that would have been correct as well. And the last one, largest asteroid named for the Roman goddess of agriculture. You said pass?
Yes.
Anyone knows that?
Goddess of Agriculture.
Goddess of Agriculture, anyone? Ceres. Ceres. C-E-R-E-S. Ceres, and of course, the pillars of creation for the final question. Oh, that's pretty good. 4,000 pesos for every correct answer. You have 15,000 previously in the elimination round. And for this round, 28,000. You take home, Chris, 43,000 pesos. But best of all, a shot at earning 1 million pesos in the grand finals of Bilyonaryo Quiz Bee. Amazing. The competition intensifies as we inch closer to crowning the champion and awarding that 1 million peso prize. Now, next week, we have 3 new college contestants entering the fray in our next set of elimination rounds, so don't miss it. But for now, a huge thank you to our contestants. I'd like to call them back in here. Glenmar, Zeus, our other 2 contestants from UP Diliman. This is a big win for your school. And of course, let's remind everyone to keep your spirits high, your mind sharp, because as we like to say on our show, knowledge is always going to be your greatest asset. That's what we always say here. So everyone, see you next week for another electrifying battle on Bilyonaryo Quiz Bee.